Right, Chisolu, do you just want to tell us about your professional journey, if you don't mind, just starting off with your professional journey?
Well, I was very privileged to graduate university at 21. I was called to the Nigerian bar as a lawyer at 22, and since then I saw my fair share of shege in Nigeria. I started as I think there's somebody that suffered with me that is on this call, apart from you, Caleb. So there's Zainab. She's from Atlanta. She wrote she's from ATL on the timeline. So
Yeah,
we are both youth corps members in Enugu. They were giving us 10K a month to as coppers. So we will get paid 10K a month. We worked extensively, and after that, I decided to when I moved to greener pastures, quote and unquote. So I moved to Abuja for a job, and when I got there, I got paid 20,000 naira a month. So let me use the date so it's helpful. So I was called to the bar on the 31st of November, no, 30th of November 2016. So my NYC started on November 3rd. So I went for my call to bar. When I came back, the NYC rounded up, and we finished NYC in 2017, October 2nd. And by October 5th, I moved to Abuja to go and continue working in a law firm, so where they were very graciously paying us 20,000 a month. The building is still there, still standing. It's somewhere in Jabi in Abuja. So I worked there from October 2017 to May 2018. Yes. By June, I started working with MTN. So I worked with MTN for a bit. And after MTN in 2018, by the end of 2018, November, I joined Eco Electricity. That's where my energy law career started. So I was in Eco Electricity for the next 3 years in Lagos. Then I got a scholarship to go and do my master's in England, where I met Caleb, who is the moderator. And then we were roommates for the past how many years. And then while we were there, of course, we saw our own fair share of shege. So this is going to be about relatable to people in the UK. So Caleb used to do, there's this warehouse job where you go and pack sand. I think it's chippings or sand, one of those things. That's what they did. I couldn't do that. I did a different one. So I did mental health support work, which I know that a couple of people will have experienced or done one way or the other. We just did that to get by. So, but because I was a jack of all trades, I did that. I did security work, as a bouncer. I worked for the Municipal Council for a company called Property Hot. Yeah. So they give they buy houses, they refurbish them, and then the council leases those houses to put people that can afford affordable housing. So my job was to go check on them. Sometimes they'll fight you. Sometimes it's a fair bargain. There's always a risk. And after that, I worked in for those that know Middlesbrough, opposite the Holiday Inn by the Teesside building. There's a water fountain there. So beside the water fountain, there's this road, and there's a building called there's a building. It's called First Source Employees. So I worked on the phone for Lloyds Bank, NatWest Bank, Ulster Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland, Royal Bank of Northern Ireland. So I was a customer support specialist on the phone for them. So I did that during the long vac. Luckily, the program I did had a internship placement. So I may have finessed my way into working at National Grid, which helped most of the journey and made it a lot easier. So one of the things that helped me was this thing called 10,000 Black Interns. I don't think people know about it a lot, but if you're in the UK, well, you're here on time. But 10,000 Black Interns, they take application from September 1st to November 4th, and then they close. They don't open again to the next year. So it's not one of those things that you apply and apply. You just get one shot at doing it. So the best way to do it is to put your best foot forward, send them your CV. What they do is that they help bridge the diversity gap in all the big companies like banks, M&S, Marks and Spencer, all these big cooperatives. They use them to fill their diversity gap. So once you apply to them, they'll send you on a placement. So they will create the jobs. So when you apply, you pick the areas you're interested in. They'll match you to companies that will now interview you. So their job is to get you in the door. You do the interview and then you take it from there. So they're called 10,000 black interns. I think they're on LinkedIn. I think the 10,000 is just the number. So 10,000, 100,000, they're black interns. So I think that's a bit of it. And after that, I did a bit of bartending for 2 weeks at the Teesside University student life building. I think someone's mic is on somewhere.
Yeah, I'm just going to sort that out.
Yeah, so that's so I worked in the in the bar at the bar, and from then I started interviewing back and forth. Of course, me and Caleb simultaneously, everybody was interviewing back and forth, you know. So I'll do the phone call work by day, do the support work at night, and then in the middle I'll interview for, you know, roles. I kept applying though. So and one of them worked out, and then life changed as it was. So it wasn't easy. There were days where we cried. There were days where we were disappointed. I've gone for an interview to third stage and they said no. I've had an interview and not understand my accent. I've had a law firm in Middlesbrough say that the clientele that they service is not my color, my race. They have a clientele. You know, that law firm on the Lintop Road, Caleb. So they said that
Yeah.
the client they come is predominantly, you know, people, not people of color. So and it's going to be. I just wanted to be a legal assistant there. So, but it's difficult, but it's possible. So one thing that we all have in common is that we did not just say, oh, we need to get this job and then, you know, but we actually worked. We got rejections. Caleb was one gone on a train to Peterborough for an interview towards London, and at the end they say we'll get back to you, and they never got back. So we've had a fair share of rejection from different employers. We were applying at least 100 jobs a week, though. Sometimes it was more than that. So the rejections were also coming simultaneously. So, like I said, this is not one of those. Is God though? Is God? Yeah, it's God. But you know, the Bible says, "Work out your salvation with fear and trembling." I can tell you, we did that. But the good news of our story, most of us, is that we all got Tier 2 sponsorships. But mine was slightly different because I came here. I came to England September 2020. So by September 2021, I was already working for National Grid on that placement, and by uh, by February 2022, I got a job offer with a Tier 2 sponsorship before I could even start my last semester. You know, that semester where you write your dissertation. Yeah, so I already had the job before I started writing dissertation. So my visa was supposed to finish on September 2022. Then by February 2022, I already had the visa sponsorship from the law firm. So it's they didn't even care for the masters. They just cared about the transferable skills and the shared experience you've had so far. So I think that's the summary of it. So we've been marvelously helped by God, but most importantly, we did not fold our hands, and we worked hard, and we were rejected by almost anybody you can think of. We have a lot more rejections than we can even remember now. I mean, Caleb had a distinction. Like, you need to understand how difficult it is, though. You know, Tier 2 looks easy to you in the process of trying to get it, and God manifestly showed his showed help on us, so genuinely. So it's a story of a lot of rejection and failures, and most importantly, God made it happen. And you know, knowing that life has a sense of humor. After I got this job, and I stayed for a couple of months, and then I decided to move to America. So the Tier 2 is somewhere in the room, and then it's there. So I still have my student green card and my work green card simultaneously. You know, before one could expire, the other one was already there. So I think that's the summary of my story. It's just one of failure, failure, near success, failure, near success, failure, rejection, unfortunately. And then somebody says yes, and God says it's time, and it works out. So yeah, I think it's what happens when our preparation meets opportunity, and then. So I think that's it, though.
All right.
That's my story,
Thank
though.
you so much for that detailed background. So we'll just crack on. So the first question I want to ask is um there are a lot of people that come to the UK, massively with the Japa wave. Now there's this tendency to just get by,
Okay.
here, and then what are common mistakes that professional makes when entering the UK job markets, and how can they navigate these mistakes?
I think it's really simple, though. I think it's important for us to realize that the first set of people you meet when you go to any country will determine how far you will go. Now, you might want to argue, oh, I'm a choosing, I'm different. But no, that's the reality, though. The first set of people you meet when you get into a country, they have the authority to shape your mindset. Why? Because one, you're staying with them. Two, they're more advanced than you because they've been in the country before you came in. But then sometimes you have to be very. Let me give an example. Leave out this long story. So when I came to UK, I stayed with this my friend. One was named Toba. The other one was named Tunde. I think most of them. So I stayed with them. So they were doing support work. They were doing so. The support work is a very glorified term for mental health care. In Nigeria, people call it psyche, but in a different way. So, but it's you just guarding people that are mentally unstable and hope that they don't punch you in the face while you're doing it. So, and when I came from Nigeria, I was telling these guys, I wanted to be a lawyer. Everybody looked at me, lawyer, how? Who are you? When did you come? Now, so it's like taking swimming lessons from someone that is drowning. So the people you meet first, they try to let you buy in on what limited them. So the limitation that they have, they'll pass it on to you. One of them has done like 4 different masters now, 4 different masters programs. Do you get? So their mind is already in this country. You do care work, you do support work, and we just keep doing it because the money keeps coming. And then what that does is it brings complacency. So we're going to talk about complacency. So complacency is that you're a professional in Nigeria, you're a banker, you're an engineer, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're whatever, and then you move over to England. Once you land there, because you cannot immediately get into the market, you now say, okay, what will happen is I'm going to do this one first, and then you do it. So because you're doing it and it gives you money, the money becomes a bribe against your future. So because the job pays there, I think it's $120 for 12 hours, and then for 24 hours is 286. So the money is now the bribe you take because again, man must survive. Now I know people that have been man must surviving over 5 years now. So the mistake you make is to come in thinking that letting this, care and support work should be a means to an end. It should never be the end. That's what I believe. So that's why I don't carry it on my head. I can count how many times I went to shift. I could go 3 times a week, 2 times a week, just to pay my bill. Once I pay my bill, once I have enough to pay my bill, start bombing and applying for jobs. So don't get stuck in that cycle. Don't worry. One day, I just want to do it for like this semester. The next semester I'll start. There's no need to look for a job. I've not graduated. No, that's the voice of foolishness. So let's address that. So these jobs you pick that are menial, they are means to an end. They are not the end. Money comes from them. You don't calculate, if I do 4 times a week, I'll make this money. I'll buy this shoe. No. Do it enough to pay your rent. Do your studies. And now I know that people are outsourcing their approach, their writing and all those things. Them out, rich kids. So that's why you do all of that. So, but if you need to find the balance, that's one. Two, you come into UK with your CV that is amazing in Nigeria. That's not how it works. So I'll just talk about lawyers. So in Nigeria, you see someone's CV, say, oh, lawyer, corporate law, commercial law, criminal law. No, that's not how it works in abroad. So the law firms there, and in the UK and in most civilized country, so the law firms have practice area. So you cannot be a jack of all trades. No, they don't believe in that. So it's either you're in aviation law, corporate law, civil law, procedural law, tax law, energy law, scattered areas of law. So you need to harmonize your CV to show you as an expert or an enthusiast in a particular area of law. Your lawyer cannot have you're in capital markets and then you're leverage finance, you're corporate finance and you're in corporate law. You're in no, you can't. That one happens in Nigeria. It doesn't happen here. So once you move, you structure your CV. And one thing I suggest for people when they come in is you go to the Google, ChatGPT, whatever it is. You said, I'm an engineer, lawyer, say health and safety professional, architect, whatever, from so and so country with this years of experience. Kindly do pointers to me for a CV that will reflect this, and this experience. Or if you want the experts to do it, AcademiaINK, that's the people hosting this particular session that I'm doing. That's what they do. All of them got their 2 jobs, everybody. So the people that are helping you are not people that did not do it, not people that have done it and are working. Yeah, so Those people could help you bypass those 2 years of suffering that we had suffered because we didn't have those people to help us. So that's another way to look at it. So one thing is that your CV is not the same. You have to modify it. Two, you have to get used to cold emails. It's not just website that they apply for jobs. You can just go to a company website, take the email of the person and send a cold email. So cold email is trying to say, hi, my name is hello, hi Caleb. I know you have a very busy schedule. How's your week coming out so far? My name is Chisolu. I'm a lawyer with this background from this experience. I'm studying my master's in this particular area, and I want to say three things. Firstly, I'm interested in joining your company because I've seen this on your website. Secondly, these are the skills I have that I believe can give and bring value to your company. Thirdly, and lastly, I'm hoping for the opportunity to have a chat with you and book some time, 15 minutes, to talk about how my skills may align to your roles or your future opportunities in your company. So now that's cold email. That one, they don't have to advertise it. Now you just did. Makes different people. Now, for every 100 you send, maybe 2 will respond. So don't even frown if you send 10 and nobody responded. That's the best ratio. That's one. Two, do not prioritize money over experience, because now let me explain. You start work, you work 12 hours. It's not 12 hours actually. It's 18 because you have to prepare for extra 2 hours, get there 1 hour before the time, start the shift, finish the shift, 2 hours to come back. Now, after you come back now, 18 hours have gone or 16. The only option you have to is rest and continue the next day. Rest and continue the next day. Now you don't have time to apply for a job. Now you don't have time to do anything that is of value. So in a nutshell, that's the dilemma that you're dealing with. So you have to understand and prioritize what is important. If you continue doing care work and say, let me finish this term, the next term, maybe you won't go forward. There will be no balance. Two of them don't go. You do care work 2 times a month or 2 weeks in a month. The remaining 2 weeks, one is for your studies, one is for you to apply for jobs. Remember, your studies is what brought you here. Job is what's going to make you stay. So I think those are important. Don't limit yourself by the first set of people you meet when you come into the country. Pursue power and higher learning. Pursue power, engage power, creative power, the ability to think outside your circumstance. All those you go better without work. Go better. I can tell you that for free. So it's if you stay with people that you came with they are doing care work. All of them are doing care work. It's okay. Do the days you can't stop and apply for jobs. The employer will not meet you when you're doing your care work. That's it. I'm going to be honest. Or support work or factory work. When your back don't break when you come back. So if you have an interview, how do you prepare when you have care work lined up? So you have to prioritize yourself. You do the work to be able to pay your rent. Then you double down on applying for jobs and focusing on your masters. So that helps. Prioritizing yourself to not getting sucked in to these temporary jobs. Because once the temporary jobs suck you in, there's no coming out again. No, I can tell you from experience. I know people. Caleb knows people. They just say, "Oh, let's just do it 1 month. 1 month. 1 month becomes 2 months. It becomes 1 year, and they continue. So after all, but we see the same money. Will they survive? There, that's the pattern. So you may want to check that. So I think those are the skills I have so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think your answer has been really valuable. I'm busy taking notes. I'm
Okay.
busy taking notes. So just on the back of that question, right?
Okay.
Um, two things actually. Now, first of all, if you can just merge your answers briefly, right?
Okay.
First of all, I want people to actually understand, your journey, right?
Okay.
Because currently you work as you're seconded to I know you're seconded to a company and that you
Yeah.
develop energy policies for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I want you to break down your sub corporate map just briefly. You went from this to this to this to this now, and in doing that,
Okay.
now you will not answer the second question on the back of that. Now the second question is, what or how influential or how important is networking in career advancement in the UK?
Hmm. Idea. Okay. The corporate map is like this. I was in Nigeria. I was working for something that you may call NEPA, though, but you'd be wrong because it was privatized in 2013. So it's called the Coal Electricity Distribution Company in Lagos. So I was doing energy law for them, right? So when I moved to UK, I just carried myself go towards another energy law company, a company that's in energy sector. For example, National Grid. The National Grid does what Equality does in Nigeria, but here. So you see the transferable experience is already straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Then from there, I joined the law firm and worked in the energy law practice team. I know do pass myself. You see that energy why I hold from Nigeria, I just the whole and I just update myself. Now here comes networking. So there's something they call 10,000 black interns. The networking opportunity I can mention. There's energy blacks that was set up now by Shore, one of our friends,
Mm-hmm.
and it was with us in Teesside together. We all got sponsorship jobs together. So Shore is in the energy sector. He's now with OVO Energy. So he and somebody has formed a company that helps professionals that want to join the energy space. It's called Energy Black.
Yeah.
Now, what it does is you pick a sector, you stay in the sector. You look for, oh, who are the people doing well in this sector in the country? That's networking. You message them, oh, I like the amazing work you are doing. This is my view on what is going on in the sector. This is what I think. And then you hear their views. Now, when you reach out to them for a recommendation for a job opportunity, they will recommend you because you're networking with someone in your sector. Don't go network with doctor. NHS don't go hire you if you're not a doctor. So it's good to network, but but remember, direction is more important than speed. Network within your sector. If you're in HR, find people in HR, find certifications in HR, take those certifications, network with people that have those certifications on LinkedIn. So networking helps a great deal. I'm telling you. So let me see how I landed the law firm job. So I'm working for National Grid. I'm one of the law firms that they have as their external solicitors, which is where I finally end up working. One of the partners came and I was doing a presentation. So at the end, he was like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a lawyer. I'm a National Grid. But before then, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I used to work in a law firm that does what you guys do. So I've researched him. So it was that networking. He's like, you know what? Just come over for an interview, though. Now, you see, if I presented and carry my face like youth, when they finish church, they say, stay behind, everybody run out of church. If I move like that at the end of the interview, I would not have had the opportunity to talk with a partner who now invited me for an interview. So
Mm-hmm.
now networking gets you in. Now, waiting they even bring you, maybe give you audience. Whatever you do from there is between you and your people, whether in the village or abroad, wherever. The village people, it's between you. So pick a sector you know. Find somebody like if you're doing health and safety and organizational management. You meet Caleb. You ask him. You follow his LinkedIn. You see the people you follow that are in London. Follow those people on LinkedIn. Follow their content. See how they develop themselves. Go through how they have worked and the positions they have taken. It helps you chart your own path. So my journey now, like I'm the director of energy policy. So I'm staying within the energy sector. In the past 9 years, I've not gone out of the energy sector. I just stay within the sector, no matter where I find myself. Temporary setback, or they go hustle low, this and at the end, enter back the energy sector. Because the experience you build over a period of time, when you go to interviews and you're speaking them, is relatable to the interviewers. You're not sounding like you're sounding French. I'm not saying it's wrong to pivot. It's okay to pivot. But networking plays a very great role. My brother, go out, attend all these webinars online, go out to in-person events. Sometimes there's Black Professional Scotland. There's a couple of black networks on LinkedIn. You can even go and search black organizations near me. You can see all of them. Join them. You meet. See, the good thing about it, if you join them, when you join those organizations, when you join those associations, you meet three types of people. One, people that are where you are. People that are literally where you are. As you define your way, they define their way. People that already started climbing, and people that have reached the top. Now, what do you lose by joining them? Nothing. Because when you join them, you see people that are struggling. You will now ask people where they climb. People that are climbing will now take you to people that have made it. And they'll say, oh, instead of this way, take this one. This is a shortcut. Write this exam, add this to your CV, add this skill. It's only somebody in your field that can give you that advice. Someone that's not in your field cannot give you advice. So I think it's really helpful. Network within your field, within your space. It's okay to network outside, but for your career progression, network within your space. And for the love of God, please stay updated in your sector. Don't go and pick a sector. Don't go and pick a sector. Don't go and pick a sector and not be updated in it. Or what your sector? My sector is architecture. Oh, did you hear about the ruling from the court about Royal Institute of Architects about the new standard operating mechanism? Say, oh, what ruling? How? See? So every professional body that you belong to in Nigeria before you traveled, they have a corresponding body here. Liaise with them, find out from them, watch the level of what they are doing, look into it, and try to understand. You cannot meet somebody in the sector. Imagine you meet someone in the sector and you're speaking with them and you don't have anything new to tell them about the sector. So what is the conversation going to be? Is it going to be one-sided? They are talking and you're quiet. Or so when you meet people, it's the value exchange. And you cannot exchange value if you don't have any value yourself. Yeah, so I think it's very helpful. So it's okay to network. It's okay to have your roadmap, but make sure you stay within the sector. Don't come and be, oh, I used to be an accountant. Oh, now I'm a risk analyst. Oh, before I was an engineer. You're going to be all over the place. I know some people have those experiences, but pick the field you want and stay on that field. Negotiate, as in encounter with people on that field. Try to go for sessions. They have online, whatever. LinkedIn will even suggest people that are in that sector for you. Stay with those people. It helps you a great deal. So I can tell you that for free. That is really helpful. So one thing that's helped me to stay abreast is I read the energy sector though. Like in England, the Department for Energy and Infrastructure, they release their updates every 60 days. So I'm signed to their website, even as I'm in America now. Now in America, the Secretary to the Government on Energy, they release the policies of the Energy Department, Director of Energy. The one in Nigeria are people. I'm still up to date there. So you sign up for this newsletter so you know what's happening in your sector. Without this newsletter, it's going to be impossible to know what goes on in your sector. And to be valuable to employers and yourself, you have to know what is valuable in your sector and you have to do it. So that's my view. And I think that's really helpful.
Thank you very much for that answer. To be fair, it's just, you're answering some of the questions I had lined up as you go. So that's
Oh,
that's really good for us as we go. So I was going to
yeah.
ask one question, but I think I'll take the next one before asking that one. Now,
Sorry.
the question I was going to have is, now, a lot of people don't understand what job hopping is,
Okay.
right? And there's this tendency to feel comfortable when you finally get something in the UK, right? You've been searching and searching and searching, and then maybe in the UK, maybe in Nigeria, you finally get something and you're like, let me hold this thing with my dear life. Do you understand? Making you busy, they go fire me tomorrow. Do you get? So how, as a professional and in your career journey, you rose from from just being an associate or an entry level lawyer to be a director of energy policy. That's not a small feat. How can we in our individual careers across all sectors leverage job hopping to our advantage?
Well, I'll give you an example. I'll use myself. Transparency, full transparency. So Zainab is still on this call, so she's my witness. Someone named Zainab. Zainab.
Why is it not working?
So yeah, so the example of it is really straightforward. So this is how it works. I started the job in Enugu. They were paying me 10K. Good. I finished NYC. I moved to Abuja. They were paying me 20K. Good. From that 20K, the next job was 80K. So the more, and then from that job in Abuja was 80K for MTN. And then when I moved to Lagos, it was 250. Full transparency. Now, what happens is that the more you rise in a particular area of law, the more your value rises, and the more you look for higher roles. It's straightforward. It's just straightforward. And you have to have that drive. If you stay in a place long time, you're going to be complacent and you won't make a move. And also, if you see a job that it looks like you're not qualified for, apply for it. Let me explain, right? So I've sat in boardrooms with people. I've sat with officials from what's this company again? Deloitte and the African Power Sector Program. I've been asked for a job. I've worked in Nigeria for the past in the past 12 months. I worked in Nigeria from April last year to November, and I was getting paid 1.5 million a month to work for an energy company in Abuja. Mind you, last time I was in Nigeria, I worked for an energy company. I started at 250 and I left at 415. I was getting 1.5. So value will always increase. I'm telling you. If you see a job that you feel like you're not qualified for, I'm gonna apply for it. I'm not. Let me explain. Nobody gets 100 over 100 on a job. Nobody. It's just if you're brave enough to go into the room. You see that those people there are human beings and they're actually breathing oxygen. So one thing that career hopping helps is one thing that strategic career hopping. No go from prime pan to fire. Just don't go from prime pan to
I
fire.
was
Let's
I
all
was
be
going
very
to
clear.
say that you have to be strategic here.
Hey God, oh, don't go for prime pan to fire because it happens though. It burns your whole academic your whole career trajectory. So the way you hop is you stay in a place, you do what you're doing, you do it very well, very, very well. Then you research about a higher role and then you apply for that higher role. Do you understand? and then you do that higher role. So, like I said, so when I joined National Grid, hey, like honestly, honest option. So, when I was in UK, I was working the care job. This one's like £9 per hour. Now it's probably like 11 or so because it was 9:30 or thereabout. So after that one, I joined the phone call one, which was like 10. I did that, and then I did National Grid for like a couple of months, and National Grid was paying me 30K a year. I was working in the legal department, and they were paying me £30,000 a year. When I joined the law firm, it was 85 was the range, £85,000 a year. So you see the gap. If I stayed in National Grid and say, what, life is good, I'll be in £30,000 a year. And then the law firm took it up to like £85,000 a year. So if you don't make the move, you may never know. So it's good to be strategic. But before you leave, make sure you stay at least a year. Because they don't want to see you jumping and jumping and jumping. No, you have to be strategic. You go into a place, you're 6 months of probation, you do your best. You're another 6 months, you start keeping an eye out. Recruiters will come to your DMO, hi Caleb, we'll have this fantastic opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Now, because you're already on job A, you know what you want from job A as in benefits or flexibility that you don't have. That's what helps you negotiate the next role. Because you can't get to a corner office by doing one job for 10 years, though. I don't think so. Even my guys that are lawyers, so we give ourselves 1.5 years in every law firm or 2 years. Because we are not really a family like you think. Oh. I'm only here to care about my own family at home. And those guys at work are not really here. So I think the strategic career hopping is very helpful. I can tell you for free. You're in a position, you're making money, you're doing well, you're 6 months probation. At the end of 6 months, they're like, oh, you did well, congratulations. And they start giving you work. At the end of your 1 year mark anniversary, that post, I'm in trail to celebrate 1 year here. I look forward to more challenges. That's you telling the job market that how far. I don't do 1 year here. And then you build from that. But you have to be strategic. There's a way you're going to hop. It's going to look bad for your resume. But if you have at least 1 year or 1.5 years in a company and then you move, it shows that you passed the probation period and you decided to make a move. So it's really helpful. And it helps increase your earning potential. Forget that. See, in fact, you can do a job so good that you can even do the job. It's no longer challenging anymore. So that brings complacency. You just be like that uncle in the Ministry of Health. We don't did there 15 years. Where they say, you want to teach me my job? I know my job. You want to teach me my job? Do you get stuff like that? So you have to, at all times and at all seasons, be intentional about your pursuit for a better job. Do the one you're doing very well. Let me say they struggle for work. They find another work, brother.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So do your job very well, and then after you do like a year, then you can keep your eye out for a very senior role. You cannot be doing compliance manager here and go and do another compliance manager or doing assistant manager. Do 1 year, apply for a manager position, and go for it though, because you've already had the experience as an assistant. And after you do manager for 1 year, 6 months, apply for assistant manager. There are people with assistant manager. There are people in the manager position that didn't even go to school. There are people without college degrees that are doing the job that you're saying, oh, mind you, your master's and your degree. You're like, I don't think that. No. Walk into the room and keep your head up like you're meant to be in the room. It's really helpful. Some of this confidence, you have to fake it till you make it, my dear. You have to fake it. Fake it. It's confidence. If you don't have it, you pretend you do, because you don't want to sell yourself short. I saw someone that went to interview, and then they were asking for £50,000, and the minimum for the role was 65. That's why he didn't get the job. He didn't know his real value in the market before you went. But then jobs like law firms, you don't even have to negotiate your salary. They have the range. If you live in Leeds, the highest you can make is 85. If you live in London, the highest you can make is, depending on when you're coming in, is between 123 and 180. That's the legal sector. But they have the minimum threshold. So law firm, they have the band. You can even go online and type what the salary of so and so, and you see it online. Law firms are very transparent with what they are paying. The very high law firms, not the cut and join where they Middlesbrough. The very high law firms. You know the salary online. You don't even need to ask. You just type it online and see the salary. So I think
Fair
that
enough.
be strategic in your job hub. Add value where you are first. And when you're leaving, make sure you leave on good terms. You don't know when the reference might be needed. I think that's helpful. So,
All
and
right.
then
Thank
that's
you
my.
very much for that feedback. So, on the back of that, right, I'm just going to ask this question now. What advice would you give to those struggling with imposter syndrome? Because I think one of the main things that will hinder someone for strategically job hopping and
Yep.
even progressing within their current organization is the fact that they are dealing with imposter syndrome. Do you
Okay.
understand? So,
Yep.
what tips, just briefly, what tips do you have to people dealing with that imposter syndrome? It might be during interviews, it might be when they finally get in the door, it might be when they are navigating the career landscape. What advice can you give to people?
I think the thing about imposter syndrome is that nobody is immune from it. I used to have it myself. I used to be very confident in Nigeria till I came here, and that humbling thing that UK does to people happened to me. But this is one thing I can tell you for free. So I'll use myself as an example. I would say surround yourself with people that believe you can do it, even when you can't. Surround yourself with people that are very positive. Like when like Caleb, Eva, myself, Shure, Imelda, we had this circle of friends that believe that more UK go they hard, but not before us, so we'll get out here too. So once people are talking about how hard it is, we know they did that conversation. Just know we're going to get it, and it doesn't come from a place of pride. It comes from hard work. There's how you work hard, though, smart work, and then you know that more with God's grace, there's no way we're not going to succeed. I'll give you an example. So there's one of my friends I always reference all the time that helped me in my career journey in UK. His name is Emenike. Emenike he's a Harvard graduate, and we met when we were in uni. So when I moved to UK, and because I didn't work in big law firm in Nigeria, I worked in companies. I was in house. I wasn't a law firm uh, counsel. So so he was working in a law firm in London called Allen and Overy, and it used to be in New York before he moved to London. So I just ran into him. All those clubhouse, yeah, we were going out for a clubhouse party, and then from there I just met my guy. My guy was like, "Oh, Alpha, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh my dear, I just did do support work. I just did develop." The guy said, "Why? You don't have to do it. You can get a law firm job." My will laugh, but he was serious. He wasn't joking. I'm like, "No, you can get a law firm job." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You can get a law firm job." I'm like, "Oh, more, yes, say here, you have to write the exam, do this, do this." He said, "No, you can get the job. You can actually get the job." And then he used him as an example. He actually got it. So all we did, we sat down with him, we modified my CV. He taught me how to do cold emailing. He taught me how to apply it. He taught me how to do research. Before I just apply the job, I see. He taught me how to tailor my resume to the area of my strength, which is energy law. And 4 months later, I got an interview for National Grid, and 6 months later, I started working on National Grid. So now what he did was that I associated myself with someone that believed it was possible, even for me, not for him, for himself, because he's doing that, and that changed everything. So you need to be around people that don't believe that barriers exist. There are people you meet like this, like when they talk to you, you gonna doubt yourself. You'll be like, "Oh, Mo, I never reached my full potential." And then the good thing about this is that if you meet people that do it and they have results to show, it's more helpful. Like me, I have results to show. Caleb has results to show. Zainab has moved all the way across America and is thriving. So if those people that have results and they are telling you that you can do it, you go believe them. I'm telling you, someone told you, I came here as a student the way you came. I did this, I did this. Let me send you a copy of my cover letter that I sent to somebody that helped me land this position. And then they send you a copy of the cover letter and you actually send it. Bro, I was delusional enough to allow somebody influence me, and that worked out for the best for me. Do you understand? So that's how, bro, Caleb went and joined people in Middlesbrough that were building one big infrastructure. I think it's a big construction company. It was free. But that experience, you put them for your CV, you will change your life. Do you understand? So imposter syndrome is normal, but you have to overcome it, and you overcome it by networking with people that believe this. Why you going to network with somebody where you say, to apply for a job, so I'm gonna leave that job, or I don't apply, I don't tire. No, there's always some. In this life, there's someone that's complaining about I know they apply again, and there's someone complaining about this interview didn't go well. These are two levels of complaints. One person is interviewing enough to get an interview. One person is not interviewing enough, don't even get an interview. So would you limit yourself? Whoever you listen to and you communicate with has the ability to limit your own dreams. I've seen someone that convinced me that I can do this, and actually went and it worked. So now I'm convincing people to do that too. So I think that build a network of like-minded people. You cannot be talking about how you want to excel in your career. Then like, just go do your shit first. No, they talk this kind of thing here. You have to find people that encourage you though, because all those small conversations that you're doing too much. Only you want to get this here too. This discussion, all these small things. Before you know, they start tearing you down. You start giving up. No, just be delusional. Believe you can do it. Apply the job as much as possible. Just keep going. I swear, meet people that believe in themselves. It's going to work for you. Generally, meet people. There are people that you meet, and have you not noticed that as a human being, there are people you meet and your life lights up. You don't even know them since, but it feels like you've known them for a long time. Maybe someone say, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, don't worry, I'll send you something." And then they send you a cover letter on the spot. "Oh, your CV, I don't like it. Use this CV. No, leave this link. Join this association. They will place you on placement like 10,000 black interns. Join this energy black. If you see some young people within your age, like you're now intentionally overcoming this syndrome by associating with people that have like mind. People that are more we gas make them. So there are two types of people that complain and people that do. So to stay on the side of people that do, and your life will change for the best. So that's imposter syndrome, though. Like since I learned that, after I had that chat with that guy, I sat down like this for interview, and I was more relaxed than ever. So like, "Oh, have you had an experience with project finance?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a situation whereby companies set up an SPV to finance a particular project." So you have an idea of everything. So you're living in a sector, you read about that sector, go to interview, relax. There's no panicking. If they mention a sector, and your calmness intrigues them. And also, interviews is not more about who you sabi. There are too many intelligent people there. It's also about the small questions, though, the non-verbal questions like, "Oh, how was your day? Do you enjoy football?" Things like that. So those things help the interviews. It eases the tension, and it makes so. Don't approach these discussions and interviews from a place of, "Oh, these people." No, 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 no. Relax. If you're relaxed, it will show in your answers. If you're not relaxed, it will show in your answers. So imposter syndrome is you feeling you don't deserve it enough, Abi. Yes. Convince yourself that there are less qualified than you that are doing it. That's the best of encouragement. And meet people that believe in themselves. Don't be doubting yourself and be friends with someone that doubts themselves. So that's the blind leading the blind. So who will help who? Yeah. So there are people that convince you. Just find them. Almost sit in front of the mirror, reassure yourself, say, "Oh, my own no go not for this life. This England that I come, I have to find value in it one way or the other." So you don't talk yourself down before you even go for an interview. This interview got tough. Oh God, this thing just like you're already giving up. You have not even gone there. You're giving up before you even go to the interview. Like, how do you give up when you haven't even tried? So I think it's important for us to at all times encourage ourselves and allow ourselves to be encouraged by people that are in a position to do that. It helps us overcome the imposter syndrome.
All right, absolutely wonderful answer to that question, and it's something I can absolutely relate to be fair. So quickly, next question from a legal standpoint.
Yeah.
Now, there's conversations about we've talked about job hopping, we've talked
Yep.
about sponsorship and what's not. Now, from a legal standpoint, what would you advise people based in the UK? Now, this is just based in the UK, or you can use the US also as an example, but then based out of the UK on how to effectively job hop. Now, when I say effectively job hop, now I'm talking about change of sponsors. Say you're in one job and they are currently sponsoring you, and then God helping you, you find something better. It gives you more flexibility, and it just comes in a better package. Now, how can you navigate that? Because apparently there seems to be some gray area when it comes to navigating change of sponsors. Sometimes there are people that menial jobs, for example, they start for the time being, and then on the back of that, they get a professional job, and they are
Okay.
wanting to switch. So how do they navigate that effectively?
So I'll start by saying that the UK laws and the American laws, they have something called a modern slavery clause. Whatever contract you sign talks about modern slavery. Though modern slavery is that I'm working for you and I see something better, I can't go for it. Of course, you can go for it. So there's always if you're working for somebody and they sponsored you, please don't celebrate for your eggs before they hatch. So this is how it works, right? You're working in job A as a menial, whatever you're doing, and then job B comes to sponsorship. Relax, don't be in a hurry. Still go to your job, right? So this is what you do. Allow job B file for you. That certificate of sponsorship that they'll send to you and you send back to them, allow them to go through that process. At the point, they will now withdraw the other people's own. But let me break it down. So you have a sponsor sponsoring you to work, let's just say 30 hours a week as a carer, and you get another professional job. So the process is that you can't have two sponsors at a time, and you have to withdraw one for the other one to work. So the best way to do it is usually preferable to make sure that the one you have at hand, the new guys are done with all the filing. That way, the other party just withdraws their own. And also, the other way to do it is that if you withdraw from an employment for over a period of 60 days, your sponsorship is withdrawn naturally from the Home Office. But the new people filing for you, they'll just replace it. That's how it works. It's called replacement. They'll just replace the sponsorship. So I know
So
about. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to ask, does that mean you really don't have to do anything? Like it's just
No, just give.
sensitizing the new
No, no. Yeah,
employer to
no. Convince if you succeed with new employers and they file as they're filing, you can't have two. So they will withdraw the other one. The home office, you can't have two applications.
okay, so does the home office withdraw the first one automatically?
Yeah, and replace it with the second one. Yes.
All
There are
right,
two ways
okay.
to withdraw it. It could be your menial job people that will withdraw it. The home office can withdraw it. You can notify them to withdraw it because as you're applying, you list. Do you currently work at this job? No, I don't. So the other one replaces it naturally.
All right,
I've
okay.
had people move from one law firm to the other. And law firms in the UK, they all do sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
So all of them. So you're working in this law firm. After a while, you get a new law firm. The process is that. In fact, those things are sorted without you even knowing. It's the HR of your new company that does all of that. There's not a lot that you need to do. You just need to give your people you're with currently notice. Maybe it's 1 month notice or pay salary leave or whatever. That's it. It's really straightforward. So it's not modern slavery is them forcing you to be with them for 5 years before. No, you can always move. You can move in 6 months. You can move in 1 year. You don't even want to see the job opportunity comes. You move immediately. Straightforward. That's why if you have the HMRC app, you see all the places you have worked with in it. You download the mobile app for HMRC UK. You see everywhere you've worked in the past how many years lined up. Even the places you worked only 2 months, there's a list of all of them. So the new one replaces it. They'll ask you, do you still, when you're filling the form yourself, do you still currently work here? You say no. So you're agreeing that this is your new sponsor. You click yes. You just fill the form and then that's it.
Great, great,
It's,
great.
yeah, that's how it works. It's the same way you do to tier two now. Your
Right.
sponsor is Teesside University. Now the law firm has come across to be your new sponsor. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to tell. Yeah, so that's how my own works. When they give you a CAS, it's certificate of sponsorship to study. So they're your sponsor. Your school is your sponsor. While you
Mm-hmm.
find another sponsor. So when you get another sponsor, you don't need to go to your school. The new sponsor takes care of everything.
Mm.
They just send you a new BRP. That's it.
Yeah, true that. Right, yeah. Thank you for that clarification. It's just a
All right.
conversation that I've come up one too many times,
All right.
so I just thought it's one of the things to talk about as we are talking about careers. Now, quickly, next question. Now, with the rise in migration and with the rise in the number of immigrants in the UK, we have seen
Okay.
the rise in professionals in high demand industries across the UK, in
Okay.
Nigeria, in the US, people are getting more degrees, getting more qualified.
Mm.
Now, how do you stand out from a competitive job market? Say you go for an interview, most likely loads of people are interviewing for that role. You want to change
Okay.
careers or you want to change something. Now, what can you do? What are some steps you can do to stand out from the ever buzzing and ever competitive job market?
Which one is that?
Like regardless of the job market, like how do you just stand out?
Well, I think it's really straightforward. Though standing out is the easy one. You can really, what is stand out is your development yourself. The ability to develop yourself is actually helpful. The way you develop yourself is by standing out in the job market. Is take certification courses if your field requires it. Yeah, so take a take a take a job take a what do you mean? So the help you need is one, take certifications, educate yourself in the sector, be aware of the news going on in your sector. This helps you a great deal without you even knowing it. Do you get? So to develop yourself in the sector, one, you have to either take certifications. Like some people take qualification exams, just to qualify them in the sector. So
Hmm.
some other people can go all the way at developing themselves, in their career by dropping nuggets here and there. And then some people can do that by peer review. Find someone in the same space of what you're doing, and then encourage them and have a chat with them about the amazing work they are doing and the amazing work that you want to do in the sector, and that helps. So those are as many as will come in handy, though. That's the way I see it. So
Yeah.
those are, yeah. So go ahead.
Funny question to follow up on that. Have you ever in your career leverage reverse mentoring? I just had the thought of that now.
Reverse mentoring,
Yeah.
where instead of being mentored, you're the one mentoring.
Yep. So like,
Well, I think that the advantage we have as people that come from Nigeria is that it does help us a bit because you may take this as mentoring, but this is just I'm going somewhere. So this is my thought process. Someone approaches you and tells you about how occupational safety is being handled in England, right? And then at that point, they're the ones speaking. They know enough about the field. They are going on and on. And then it gets to your turn. And then you're talking about it from a perspective of where you were before you moved there. The advantage you have is that you've done it in two different countries, and the person advising you has only done it in one. Do you get?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
when they are confronted in future or they're conflicted about something, and they'll feel the need to ask you, oh, how do you people handle this in so and so place? Do you get? So I
Yeah.
think that reverse mentoring is very helpful, because your mentor, it God forbid that they know everything. There's something that they may not know, and then also some people reach out to you. I'm like, just like law generally, though the law is our law is very different. Though. Taxation laws in England, the taxation law in like England has a no fault theory divorce system. Nigeria we don't, and American has a no fault theory. Like no fault means you can wake up and say, you know what, I don't like your nose again. I should get a divorce. It's called the eggshell principle. Once the eggshell cracks in any way you can. But then if I'm trying to talk to a mentor about how it is back home, our matrimonial courses Act Section 22 and our marriage Act Section 20 list our whole requirements. You can't just wake up and say, we don't have the no fault theory there. So I think that when you speak holistically based on the background of where you were before you moved to England
Mm-hmm.
or where your former employment, you speak from a position of strength because you've been privileged to do things like that. So in that way, you're adding value to your mentor. I think that's a way of bringing value. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Great. Great.
I
Great. Great
think you cannot,
response.
and I've leveraged this in all my interviews though. If I'm interviewing, I'm like, listen, I want to join your energy company, and this is why I want to join. You're like, oh, how are you so familiar with all this? And now this is my layer. I start. I'm like in Nigeria, our sector, the English electric sector was unbundled in 1990. That when National Grid was listed in stock exchange, and Nigerian did the unbundling in 2013. So we are mirroring ourselves, our own electricity system close to that of England, and we broke down into different distribution, generation, and transmission section of electricity. And the way England has the Office of Gas, Electricity and Market Pricing, Ofgem, we have NERC, National Electricity Regulation Commission. The way England has EON, we have a code disco, a Bado disco. So the way what England calls the distribution network operators, we call them distribution companies in Nigeria. So that's the strength you have because this is the system that they may never experience, but you have experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you speak on that, you speak from a place of strength. So that's how I see it. So it's
Yeah,
really
good,
helpful
good, good.
in
Yeah,
interviews very well.
I think one thing I was going to ask that you just answered was, sometimes people come to the UK and then they feel that the Nigerian Express is useless or they don't have experience because probably they were in uni. And the funny thing is when you actually like we've had this experience, I myself and Eva, we're talking to people and they're like, oh, they don't have experience, they don't have what to put in their CV. And then we take pen to paper, we say, okay, so tell me about what you've been doing for the past 5 years. Oh, and they
Yeah.
say, oh, I've been working with my father. This is what my father does. And we say,
Okay.
okay, do you know that you have actually been acting in this capacity? So do you have anything to say as regards that? Like, why do we feel like we don't have enough experience or we don't have relevant experience?
No, I don't think it's that feeling of not having enough experience is a part of the imposter syndrome, and it happens to very unlikely. So it's expected to happen because you're in a new phase, in a new stage, and
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to deal with that. But I think that where the strength comes in is in where the strength comes in is in the ability to lack of a better word, manage that. I'll give you an example. So uh you're doing something in Nigeria that is valuable, but the issue you have is not just not experience. I think it's translating it to value in the current place
Mm-hmm.
where you are. Yeah, let's just say you're doing something in Nigeria, maybe you're banking, you're working in the customer service. Now you come to England, you're trying to find a way to make that fit in within the England scope of things. In Nigeria, we call it banking. Nigeria and England, they call it retail banking. Both of them are the same. You get so I think what helps is putting the things you've done in Nigeria on a scale and asking it to translate to what it is in your current place. So the reason we have those things is that England system is already set up. So, and you're coming from a different country where your own is set up. So you're trying to adapt those skills. So I think one word that helps that thing is what they call transferable skills.
Mm-hmm.
You've done something before and you're in a new place. So it's expected that you find a way to translate that skill, that skill you developed from here over to here. Like in Nigeria, you could be a claims you could be working at a PA addressing few concerns, that people have once in a while in a pension company. Now, when he moved to England, you can see a job on Aviva called claims advisor. Now, because he doesn't have PA in it, you have not even looked at the job description. You're like, I don't know if you do this thing, no. But it's in the pension fund. Let's just say you work in the NPS before you move, Nigerian Pension Fund. So being able to identify the job descriptions and how to tie that job description to the things you have done before, it helps you a great deal. So that's how I look at it. So before you feel not doing enough, I identify the field where you have your strength, and then go to the job descriptions of most of these jobs. There are some job descriptions that you can relate to. So wherever you see those things prevalent, you know that okay, maybe this may be the job title that you're looking for. You don't need just work as a you work as a paralegal in Nigeria, and then you move here and you're not seeing paralegal, you're seeing corporate paralegal. It's just nomenclature though. The basic thing is the same. You log time for hours, you do research, you send a list of documents, you assist the lawyers with their work. It's basically the same thing. So the reason we have that is a new territory, and with everything new, there's this trepidation. No more this area. I don't know. These Igbo people, you get. But then when people sit down with people that are already advanced in the sector, I'm like, let me tell you what you've been doing. And then they say what they've been doing. I'm like, maybe the issue is that they're starting the wrong job description. You did secretary. Nigeria, we have this thing called confidential secretary. You do in Nigeria, you come back here, you come here, you can never see confidential secretary at your work in UK. But you can see an executive assistant. And both of them have the duty of, in Latin, it's called ubermae fide, it's utmost good faith, of confidentiality. So the job you're looking for may just have a different name. So I think that's what it is. But the feeling of not doing enough is good. But what it does is that it helps you sit down to actually navigate the issues and narrow down and see the one that's important, and then know how to wrap around it. So just find a way to translate what you've done in Nigeria and find the sector in England and continue to add the same value, because it doesn't change. And also, some of us, we work on jobs and everything, and then after you're working on the job, your job description, you word it differently. Let's just say, I drafted contracts, I did this, I did that. But then the job description said someone that can drive multilateral contract value that's so and so million. You're the one that did not add value to the contract that you did. You just wrote drafted contract, generic. Like someone, any 3 contracts, EPC contracts, all those contracts, like you could have done them, but you just wrote contract. But then if you apply for a job that says someone that has any 3 contract experience, you'd be like, no, but it's the same. So I think it's all about presenting, or what we like to call packaging, how you package the level of work you've done and how you translate to what needs to be done in the new place that you're in. So that's what I see.
Good stuff. Quickly, I'll just hand over to Eva. Eva, your hand was up. I plan to hand over to you anyways. So, did you want to ask a question, or do you just want to take it from here? Literally, we're going right into the question and answer section, and Eva is going to be anchoring this
Apologies.
section.
I don't think you guys can hear me. Hi, hello everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Can you hear me now, Eva?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, for starters, I'd like to apologize for logging in late. I was stuck in traffic, long story. So to add to what Chisolu has said so far, I've been listening to the questions and the answers. I'd like to start by saying we struggle with effective documentation in Nigeria. Yeah, we struggle with effective documentation, and what I've noticed is that from what Caleb said and the experiences we've had when we've had sessions with a couple of people that are trying to break into the career space, and I've noticed that a lot of people, they've done a lot, but they don't document the things they do. That's why I'm a big believer in jotting things down in terms of notes, in terms of, if you're like me, that you have a physical and you also use OneNote on Microsoft to document stuff, that's like a huge game changer, because with that, you've got a huge backing on your CV. I'll give you an example of what Chisolu said in terms of NEC contracts. I had learned about NEC contracts, but I had no idea that I had learned about it. And I had also learned about JCT contracts in uni. That was at Teesside, but I had no idea that I learned about it. So we had a course in uni. We learned about JCT contracts, but it was not titled JCT. It was titled Procurement and Contract Strategies. We learned that, and that was it. So when I got into the job market and I was like, okay, JCT, NEC, and I was like, oh, these are big words. I have no idea what they're talking about. But when I started working on my research and started seeing a lot of videos online, and I realized that, oh, that's true. I've actually done this, but I had no idea at the time that I had done it. So what I will advise is a lot of people document the things you do, regardless of how small it is. It will be a game changer later. Document things, reach out to people, learn as much as you can on the job, volunteer on stuff. Just do all you have to do to have that effective work experience, because every interview is about telling a story, regardless of the job. What have I done? I have this competence. I can deliver this. It's all about just telling a story, being confident, having the ability to spread yourself. It's like a product. You are a product and you're trying to sell a product. Think about a situation where the biggest brands in the world in terms of Apple, Tesla, that's Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, they always sell their products till today. They're still marketing stuff. So if those guys who are billionaires can continue to market their products, why would you stop? So you always need to sell yourself. You always need to market your product. So I'll just leave that for now. And we are moving on to the next part of this session. So we'll be taking in more questions now. So if you've got questions, you can just please put them on the chat box and